Right, welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur's Guide to Retirement podcast. And today, guys, it's a more relaxed section, right? So the first episode, we talked a lot about the pension scheme in Nigeria, what you need to know, how you need to go about it. But today we are relaxing. We're not stressing. We're not, But yeah, we're also going to be talking about money, how to be money smart. But before we delve right into all of that, let me remind you that if you have not clicked on that subscribe button, you're on a long tank. You're missing out. You're missing out on all the tea, on all the juicy gist we're going to be sharing on this podcast, and everything you need to know about savings, planning, and investment. So, guys, make sure that you click on that subscribe button. And this podcast is brought to you by Oak Pensions because they want you to plan for your future. So, I have two very beautiful men with me today. You guys are looking so good.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I'm liking the fit, I'm liking the energy, and I just decided to, match up the energy. That's why, Miss, I said, I have to come correct. If you're looking this good, I also have to come correct. You guys look so amazing. And thank you for joining me on the podcast today. Today, we're going to be talking about being money smart. Did you guys get my name? I'm Ali Man, I'm your host. I don't know if you got that before, but yeah, put that in mind. And I have with me Justice Eneje. He is a digital marketer. He's also into Web3. Sorry.
I'm a tech entrepreneur, right? I have both Web3 startups and an animation CGI studio, and I own a digital creative agency as well.
You're doing great stuff. These are things that I like to hear. Like on a regular day, I'm just like, okay. All the beautiful, beautiful things. Just
You're not looking bad as well. If you say A1, A1.
Oh, stop. Thank you. And I also have Ikechukwu Odum with me here today. Tell us a bit about yourself too.
Okay, so my name is Ikechukwu Odum, and I'm the founder and creative director of Paradise Luxury Events. I'm also a digital entrepreneur. I'm into Forex and network marketing, so that's pretty much what I do.
You people, let me tell you about myself too. You'd be like, I didn't have work. All right, me Steph. I'm a brand strategist. I'm an entrepreneur. What else am I doing? I do hosts, as you can see. But anyways, guys, we're going to be delving into everything an entrepreneur needs to know about being money smart. And as in being an entrepreneur myself, I think this is a very important topic myself because sometimes you feel like you have money and then the next minute everything is gone, right? 1 minute I feel like, oh, I've done so well this month. Look at my finances. They're doing really well. They're great. And then 3 days later, you're like, sorry, where did all the money go? Right? So, since you people are great people and you're here to share out of your wealth of knowledge for us, so let us get right into that. Anyways, my first question for you today would be, what do you think about Gen Z entrepreneurs and, focusing on making money rather than managing it? Did you think this is a misconception? Do you think that Gen Z entrepreneurs are more focused on making than managing their money? I'll start with you, Justice.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very interesting question. So, we live in an age where limitless possibilities, right? And so you have a lot of, well, as you like to call them, Gen Z entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. Who are starting up different fields, and they are so keen on chasing their passion, right? And the passion is bringing income. However, sadly, I think I would lean to the fact that there is not so much financial education or financial knowledge when it comes to managing money. Making money and managing money are two different things, right? And we live in an age where it's so easy to make money than ever before, right? However, the good thing with Gen Z entrepreneurs, as for the sake of calling them Gen Z entrepreneurs, right, is that due to the fact that it's so easy to make money, no one seems to be watching their cost for now. But that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing, So, but I think I'm leaning towards the fact that most new startup entrepreneurs are just so focused on revenue, believing that as long as they're making money, they would always be good times. but there will not always be good times in business. It's like a chart. It goes up, it goes down, right? And so there needs to be that knowledge, that education on managing money rather than just making it.
This feels like a direct attack. Ah, Halima, relax. I think I agree with you to a reasonable extent because I'm going to share a brief story about a friend of mine that I think we were in 300 or 400 level at the time, and then he's into tech, right? And he got his hands on like huge amount of money. Not huge per se in this world, but yeah, at that time it felt huge, right? And like I think it was like a month after, we're just discussing and talking about like, oh, what's left and everything. And it's like, oh, the money don't finish. I'm like, what do you mean? I've not spent out of your money. What do you mean that's finished? And it just goes to show how much like we want the money fast, 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 fast. But like, what are you doing to make sure that this money is not just in the moment? But what are you doing to make sure that as time goes on, you've probably invested in something, or you've probably like saved the money somewhere just to make sure that that money keeps rolling over and there's profit from it. There's so much more from it. So yeah, I do agree with you on that. I think you have something to say on that.
Well, yes, I do. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with focusing on making money or focusing more on making money because you do actually have to have money to manage first. So I guess it's just the gap where there's no proper education on how to manage money, right? There's nothing wrong with focusing on making money, right? And it's actually good to see young entrepreneurs springing up, making some type of money. And, sometimes I actually do, like, I look at some of these young people and I'm like, if I were the person that had the type of opportunities you have when I was your age, I mean, I would, and I definitely know, it would be a different story. But, I feel like, yes, that's where some of the things like, having a mentor comes into the picture, someone who has, gone ahead of you and has done what you're trying to do. That person is in a position to allow you learn from their mistakes, allow you to make better informed decisions. Like personally, there were some mistakes that I made when I first, started to make a lot of money. And those are...
Let's just put that out there. Like, you are making a lot of money, okay?
You clocked me there. Yeah, so, there were some mistakes that I made. Like, money was coming in, but money was going out as fast as it was coming in. Until I had to, like, go back to the drawing board. Imagine making a whole lot of money, but you later get to find out that you're actually in debt. Yeah, so, it was crazy at the time, and then I had to go back to the drawing board, but I'm very grateful that I had people who had walked the path that I was working, and they were there to guide me and help me through. So yeah, I feel like, it's just that gap of teaching people how to actually manage money, especially from an early stage, because the truth is you will learn. You will actually learn one way or the other, but you can save yourself the cost of learning, from your mistakes. Yes, exactly.
And I just to add to that, I feel like there are a lot of platforms that are coming up that like you just worry about making the money. We help you manage it. We help you. We take that stress off you, and then we just cater to that. And yeah, I do agree that yeah, we focus a lot on making money. Like you just hear one big amount and you're like, I want to get my hands on that money.
Yes.
It needs to be mine.
I think it's because of we live in in a day and age where there's a lot of social positioning, right, through digital media. So a lot of people are playing the catch-up game,
Yes.
right? So you just want to make that money to catch up to show that okay, yeah, you're also at that level,
Yes.
right? Well, that's a zero-sum game, because of at the end of the day, if what's coming in, just like you said, is what's going out. I've been there, right? It was interesting to hear that you're into forex. I used to trade crypto futures every now and then. And there was this point in my life where I blew $100K. I have screenshot receipts to show, right? And just like him, right? What helped me out was I had to go back to the drawing board. I was so keen on being a dollar millionaire, right? And so, and that was it. That was the social positioning for me. There were so many things that I think I left behind, just so zeroed in on that goal, right? And just like that, a lot of people are zeroed in on probably driving the latest car, living in the biggest houses, yeah. And when I remember when I lost that money, this happened over a 3-day period. It was a bad trade that kept going bad, and I kept on backing it up, right? So, and when everything happened, yes, my eye clear, right?
What does that mean, Mamuda?
I mean, my mental was whack, my psychology was whack. Then did I start learning so much about risk management, asset management, really, really positioning myself that, okay, look, building wealth, getting rich is easy, building wealth is hard, right? And that's when I started focusing on building wealth. And just like that, I believe that the same thing applies to every single young entrepreneur. I mean, we have really creative people pushing out wonderful startups, right? Pushing out so many ideas. They're just, creators crunching in the numbers, crunching in the numbers. At the end of the day, it's only what you keep that you own, right? Whatever goes out there is out there.
Wise words, wise words. And that brings me to my next question. And my question goes, how do you navigate the thin line between business growth and financial discipline? Now you want to say, oh, your business is growing, but you also have to have the financial. So how do you like navigate? Because when it comes to business growth, you want to expand, right? You're thinking, okay, now that this business is growing, there's a lot of customers or a lot of people that are interested in my business. I want to expand it. How do you figure out, oh, this is the perfect time to do this is the perfect time to do that? Yeah, that financial discipline. How do you navigate that? So I'm going to start with you, Ikechukwu, because you spoke about building a lot of wealth. That's what I'm interested in.
So I guess this is the point where, we need to consider the term delayed gratification. So, I mean, there's something called delayed gratification, and that's basically you waiting. You could have done it, like you probably had the money to do it like ASAP, but you decided to wait a bit longer just because, you wanted to get to a level where you're able to do it and not feel the pinch, right? So, personally, when that happens, I mean, what I would really advise people to do, or what I would really say, which is what has worked for me, is you must have a money formula. Yes.
Sure, money formula. What's that?
You must have a money formula in the sense that as much as, yes, you are growing in your business, your income is growing, there's a formula to how that money is being spent. And so it's not a thing of the money influencing you on how to spend it, but you are the one influencing the money when it comes. Because a lot of times that happens, money influences you to spend. And that's because you didn't plan on how to spend the money before it came in, right? So, having a money formula just helps you. It's just a system that your money has to pass through. So you probably have a certain percentage that goes into investing back into your business. You have a certain percentage that goes into diversifying into other investment opportunities. You have a certain percentage that goes into keeping up with your lifestyle, paying your bills. You have a certain percentage that goes into saving for emergency. You have a certain percentage that's going into black tax, because that's a thing. So, if you already have like a money spending formula, that way, regardless of the fact that you feel like, oh, your business is growing, yes, it is growing, but you're not just pushed to spend all the money that's coming in, because if what you need to spend to expand the business, the money you are setting aside for business expansion has not gotten there yet, it therefore means that you still need to pipe it down. You need to still, work some more. So that can actually help with, that thin line, because like I said, if you don't, and I'm speaking from experience, every single time that I just allow money to come in without planning how to spend it, I can't account for how the money goes. I can barely account for where I'll now be checking statements. I'm like, where's this money? Where did this money go? Oh, this alert came, but why can't I? So that's basically it. So yeah, I feel like that can help. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to add something to that?
Yeah, sure. It's also something from what he said, right? My principle is this: focus on the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Always keep a spreadsheet, right? So when you have a spreadsheet, just like he said, you have a spending formula. But this is what I do that work for me, yeah? XYZ amount comes in, right? First of all, the way I restructured my business that has worked for me so far and has been profitable is that um, profit or revenue has to be at least 100%, right? Or say 70%, right, of the cost you get. And that functions both for hiring, right, for my team. That functions also, that applies rather to even purchasing any equipment at the office, right, or even operations. At the end of the day, the unit sum, right, of because it's a business, at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, the goal is to be profitable. Is to make money. Making money is one thing. You can make money and be in loss, but it's to be profitable. So always keep your eye on the numbers. If whatever you want to spend on marketing, if what you're spending on marketing at the end of the day doesn't move your business XYZ step forward, right? Don't do it. If you're just doing it just so people would know you, but it doesn't directly, if knowing you doesn't somehow interpret into profit or some form of revenue, don't do it. If you're buying gadgets, if the gadget doesn't, actually you're buying a gadget, you want to get better cameras, better lighting, if you say you're a podcaster, for instance, right? That's to actually increase the value of what you're doing. You can save towards that. But if you know that you're not there yet, right? Then don't do it. Keep putting out the content until you realize that you're getting really, really good traction. Then you then make those purchases. Same thing down to even lifestyle and all of that. At the end of the day, the hype man in the club will not really remember your name, no matter how much. Doesn't even remember you. You get. But they're just encouraging and you feel, and this is the thing, if you do not have, like he said, if you don't have a money formula or your eyes is not somehow always on the price, on the money, knowing that, okay, yeah, this is where you are at every point in time. You could make sentimental financial decisions. You can say, oh, I have this money. You forgot that you have this cost or this bill, and then you've blown it, and then sometime later your phone rings and that bill is due, and you're like, oh my God, I've not paid this. Well, if you have that spreadsheet, and when the money comes, sort out, you've taken out the money for XYZ, HMO, pensions if you have them, salaries, everything, and then you look at it, that is how much you really have, not your gross, your net. So keep your eyes on the numbers. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah, and then also something else, just to add, is I see a lot of young entrepreneurs make the mistake of not, like, business money is personal money and personal money is business money. So there's usually that mistake of, not knowing what money that is yours and like what money is for business, right? And what I would just say is, from the get-go, cultivate the habit of paying yourself. I know that when you're starting out, you tell yourself that, oh, you want to reinvest into your business. Pay yourself first. And then you now decide to use the money you paid yourself to reinvest back into your business. But have a formula that puts you in the picture, because, at some point you're going to just feel like, you're just working and you're not, and you will get to a point where you won't really care, and then you just find yourself just taking out all that money and you're spending it on the things that you didn't plan to spend. So you have to actually put that into consideration as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Just to ask both of you now, if you get free money, do you put your money formula into place for free money?
Oh, absolutely.
It applies to every
For
money.
me, yeah, like if I get free money,
So
what,
Yes.
free money is not free money.
in fact,
Yes, free money is not free
It's
money.
not free money. What free money
No
does
money
is
is free
that
money.
it just allows me, let's say, okay, if I'm planning to save 20%, invest 30%, for instance. What free money means is that, oh, now you can save the next 2 months or 3 months, right, and increase your investing budget. So it's not free money. It's what I've just done is just help me buy more time.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, money is hard to save.
That thing you call free money. Is it actually free money? Do you think so? You have to always evaluate where you are at. do you think money that you receive that maybe you didn't work for, someone dashes you money, do you think that money is actually free? To you, as a person, do you think you can afford to tag it as free money and spend it the way you want to spend it? That's really what you should ask yourself before you now decide that this is free money,
I think
I want to spend it there.
actually that's why it gets spent wrongly because of
Yeah.
once you've tagged it as free money,
Yes, exactly.
it will go
It
freely.
goes free. It goes freely.
Just
Most times, if not most times, but sometimes, if I get money that I did not work for, I just remember that wait, this money is really not free here because I have a lot of things I'm supposed to use money for. So we just go to that. So yeah, I do agree. I do agree. Yeah. This one is tricky because I feel like because of the way the country is, things are tough. Everybody is one way or the other struggling and what about do you think that entrepreneurs, that's Gen Z entrepreneurs, should rely on loan and credits to grow their business? I'll go with you first.
oh me now that it's tricky, you go with me first.
But I saw your face, you're like, I'm like, okay.
You're like those. You're like that wicked teacher that asks a question and then the person that's trying to hide, he says, "No, you, yes."
Exactly. That's the point.
Okay, so about loaning, now I'm just going to speak from my own perspective and my own perspective, right? I currently have zero debt.
Great.
Yeah,
Love it. That's the
and
life.
yeah, and it's not something that I'm bragging about. Like, it's a discipline,
Yeah.
right? Discipline is like going to the gym. You have to make a habit of it, and then it becomes part of you. Now, about business, if I'm taking a loan, we live in Nigeria is a very interesting country, yeah. In the Western society where loans are structured, right? You pretty much can plan on the policy or plan on the business environment and know that in XYZ time, right, you should be able to achieve XYZ without no wonderful policy coming in and kicking you out of the market, yeah. In Nigeria, it is high risk. You just don't take that loan. You could take that loan. Imagine you take a dollar loan and then the exchange rate moves up. Imagine you took a dollar loan in 2020 or 2022 for your business. Let's say $100K dollars. It was like what 56M. Right now it's 160M minus interest. By the time you put the interest, you're paying as 5. No matter how much profit you're making, and let's say your business, right? You took a dollar loan to finance a naira business, right? You're in serious debt, even though you've paid 56 million, right? You've paid 80 million. You have another say 100 million waiting for you. It cripples how fast your business can grow. You end up needing more money to stay alive. So it can really lead into it can quickly lead into a downward spiral, right? However, this is what I always say: if you're taking a loan, and I borrowed this ideology from a bank, right? Nigerian banks, terrible. It's a terrible way of doing business, right? They would not loan you what you do not have the collateralized asset for, you know. There's some way that they can easily recover that money. So here's how I applied it to myself, right? I kept money in silos within myself, different. I'm in crypto and I'm in different stuff, so different wallets, different things. When I'm in a tight position, I borrow money from myself. You get with the idea that some service or something would come in and I'm able to return that money back.
Do you always return the money?
Oh, honest to God, I do. And then I take back for myself again. And sometimes I do, and then sometimes, God is gracious, and then something comes in, right? And it's more than, and I feel like, okay, yeah, now I'm balanced, and now I'm in the sweet spot. You get, but that's the mentality I have. But I can imagine it's a closed mentality. I can imagine borrowing from someone else or from an institution. Because of getting money easily from an institution is difficult. You are most likely to borrow from somebody else who would pressure you. The more the economy gets harder, you would make poorer financial decisions. You get. So I'm really loan adverse to starting a business. I prefer you grow it organically. Let it be slow, hard growth, and then you go to investors and say, okay, I have done XYZ with XYZ. Come invest. It's better you take an investment than a loan. It's better you come in, do an investment round, right? And you have a portfolio, you've done this thing from 1 to 3x. If you have more capital, you could do it at 30x. Come invest. There's a spread risk in that. A loan, no, that's my philosophy towards this.
Yeah. Do you have something to add?
Yeah, I definitely do agree with his ideas on that. Because, like you said, Nigeria, the economy here is, it can be very unstable. Like from January till now, the amount of policy changes that have happened is insane, you know. So things are changing, and I know how that can really affect the growth of businesses. However, like he said, rather than looking towards credit facilities, I mean, not unless it's a grant, right? But loans, because of the policies, if you understand financial literacy, or you can, negotiate, the terms and conditions of those, you have the knowledge and the expertise to be able to do that, fine and good. Because, I mean, in a proper scenario, most billionaires will tell you that they use debts to acquire assets. Yes, borrow money and buy assets, and that assets will pay the money back, and you will now be the owner. Like, that's typically how it should work in a proper scenario. But we don't live in that
We don't live in a
proper
proper scenario.
scenario. We don't live in that proper scenario at the moment. However, your business still does need money. And you still need to find ways to raise money for your business. So just be smart about the decisions you're making and you're taking. If you need to get into partnerships or whatnot, because I see everybody wants to do things solo, right? But I mean, a partnership might just be what you need. You need to share the risk. It's a great thing to be able to actually share the risk, because it means you're not the only person being affected. If you guys need to put money to something, you're bringing money together and putting it in. It's not just you solo financing the entire thing. If there's a liability somewhere, or there's like something somewhere, both of you are going to bear it. It's not just you bearing it. So, look for easier ways to do these things than, loan would definitely not be like the first
First thing to come to
subscription.
mind. Yeah.
I mean, there are even like microfinance banks right now, and I don't know, I
I
don't
don't want
know,
to hear it.
I don't know what is going on in the country, but you would just see somebody send you a random message like, so person
It's
refused to
all,
pay,
Yes.
yeah.
where this person is on the
Literally every
run,
day.
and they've not paid their 3,000 naira.
I'm like,
And it's even ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
yeah, they're always
It's-
very ridiculous
it's
about
so
it.
If you must
ridiculous,
loan money, don't
man.
loan small money. I say if you must eat a frog, eat a frog that you will build a frog. Like, because why?
You
Because
know, it's
all this
crazy.
small money, like you will spend it on
Yeah.
worthless things. But if you're loaning, say, if you have the capacity to get a loan of 50 million, right, and you're smart enough and you put it in one property, you know that okay, even if the business fail, like you diverse that, you only use a percentage for the business. Another one is more of like a fixed asset that it's a fail safe, right? And so if things go bad, you could easily dispose of that asset and say, hey, you're
Yeah.
fine, But rather than being in a situation where you put all the money inside and but the truth is that you will still eat the money when you take a loan. Because that's how money works. If you take 50 million, you will chop like 20 inside. That's the truth. So,
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, that's
That,
my
that,
take
that
on
makes
that.
a lot of sense. And I think I'm even getting a different perspective of things. Like you mentioned partnerships. I've always seen partnerships as not like a I feel like people are very difficult to work with sometimes, right? And you can start off great and then midway probably one person starts acting up or you just start realizing that our values don't even align or something just goes wrong
Get
along the
everything
way.
on black and white, and impute, like, make sure you have clauses, and you
Yeah.
have clauses that allows you to reevaluate your partnership standpoints at different, like, there are
Different
periods when
points.
you can do that,
Yeah.
where you're allowed to evaluate if you want to continue the partnership. You're allowed to evaluate if maybe one person wants to take out their share or whatnot. There should be such clauses that put into consideration the fact that, okay, these kind of things could happen. I mean, no hard feelings, it's business, and someone can decide that, oh, they want to do something else, or they want to even relocate. Maybe you have a physical business, and then, you have to like, oh, it's something that requires both people to be present, and maybe someone now decides, oh, they want to relocate. It's something you can always come back to discuss and say, okay, let's redesign the arrangements, let's, rearrange stuff. Yeah, it shouldn't be too
Shouldn't be
difficult.
such
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
yeah. I
It's
get
where
that.
there's nothing on black and white, there's nothing on pen and paper, and you guys just say, bestie, let's start this business together. You guys start, it's
You're too
going
excited
great.
in that
Yes,
moment. You're
you're
like, oh, let's
excited.
do this.
It's going great. And then somewhere along the line, it feels like one person is pulling more weight than the other, and the other person starts to feel like they're being cheated, and whatnot, and then, those kind of things. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. Because sometimes we make very impulsive decisions as people.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, you're just really excited about what you have to do. But you don't think about, 6 months from now, what should I have put in place to make sure that everything runs smoothly and things are just, going really well. So yeah, I do agree with that. Just to add to, everything that you said about loans, I think it takes a lot of I don't it's courageous to take loans, right? But I just feel like for you to even want to take a loan, like you should actually have enough knowledge about it. You shouldn't just be like, oh yeah, I know that if I sell three, four something, then I can make it. But they should just because I feel like a lot of people that take out like small loans, right? They don't even think deep
No, they don't.
about it. Like, and when I hear some people say, "Oh, like I borrowed money from
Let
something,"
me tell you how to take loans. You take loans like a Ponzi scheme, if you're going to take a loan at all, right? It's a simple
Go
wealth creation hack. No, do you mean you take from here, you buy some assets, keep some, pay some from the other place, right? You have that asset, you go to the next place, you tell that people, okay, I have this asset I can collateralize, give me this loan. You take from that, you buy another kind of asset. As I said, a Ponzi scheme, right? Those assets are still building, they're building value, right? And then you're just going from one. I know people who do this, right? They go to multiple different places, right? There's a smart way to take loan, right? You have to be really calculative. As you said, you have to know what you're doing, right? Just don't take a loan because of you're in a tight fix, right?
I
And you
agree.
just take a loan, and now you have no way to pay it off.
Pay
You
it.
have bad debt, and it's just messy. So
Yeah.
just always have a plan. Be strategic if you're going to take a loan.
People that take impulsive loans, I don't know what you're doing, man. Like, because maybe because I'm a very scared person. Like when I hear people, they're like,
Yeah.
"You have debt on
take
your head
that.
like this." As you're walking around like this.
When people tell me they want to take loans, the first question I ask them is, who are you taking the money from?
True.
Who are
There's
you
some
taking the money
people-
from? Because, first of all, ask yourself, is this money that my family members can give me?
Hey.
Very, very true. You can owe your family members
Yes,
money easily,
you can
and you
owe
can
your
delay
family
and probably
Yeah.
pay
Yes,
it
yes.
forward.
You
Go
know,
and
right?
beat them, beg them, they will give
there are
you.
some that will even dash you.
Exactly.
Yeah, true.
They
that.
won't tell you, just
Don't
carry
worry,
and be
just
going,
go.
just be going. Right? Ask yourself, like, is this something that, because I don't know how some people just think about it, and the first thing they want to do is microfinance back one loan app or the other, and they want to
Scary.
and I'm like, you guys, you
So
don't
sometimes
have,
ego comes in, and sometimes those people they've built a reputation where they're not credit worthy, so they can't even borrow from their family anymore,
well, true, anyway.
which is funny.
Build your credit score.
Yes, build your credit.
Everywhere, build your
If you
credit
take a
score.
loan, make sure you have a plan to
Yes,
repay
on
it.
how
to
If you
repay
don't,
your
if you
loan.
don't worry.
Yes,
Yeah.
you must have a plan.
Even if it means borrowing from another place to pay that loan,
Like,
have a
when does
plan.
it
You
end?
must be disciplined
You
with
must be
that,
yeah.
with that
Yeah,
payment plan, because
I agree.
your ability, if you borrow money, and this is the thing, I don't borrow money that I can't give out.
Fact.
I live on that policy
If
as
I
well.
can't dash you
If I
the
can't dash,
money,
I'm not giving you.
I
at all.
can't borrow you that money, right? Unless we're in a business, we're tied in a business where I know somehow I can get my money back. Yes. Yeah, you have to be smart about these things, right? So if you're even taking a loan from someone or somewhere, you have to be disciplined enough so you can come back. Right?
Yeah,
You have,
And then-
at
like,
least,
and ask for
have
more.
dignity.
Yes,
You have a track
to be
record of
disciplined enough
being, yeah.
to be able to,
Yeah.
oh, you took it, you paid
You can
back
pay
as
it
that
back.
when due,
Yeah.
and you're, yeah.
All
you're
right.
credible.
So that brings me to my final question for you. I'm going to start with you now since I already threw your life.
Like, it has to be a hard question for him.
All right. Do you think it is smart for young entrepreneurs to diversify their income streams early on, or do you think like they should grow to a particular point before they do that?
Hmm.
You did
Um,
that so
so,
great job.
this actually can go both ways. I
Okay.
have seen scenarios where it has worked, and I've seen scenarios where it did not work. But the scenarios where it didn't work are more than the scenarios where it worked. And that's really because um, you need to be really good at something before you can say, oh,
Let me spread my
yeah,
wings.
let me spread my wings. So, for example, um, there was a time when I was doing styling and events together, right?
Okay.
Now, that dynamic kind of worked for me because my event clients need styling services.
Yeah.
And so that's like,
Service. Yeah.
yeah, the businesses were mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
There was also another time when, it was with my grill business. I have a grill business too. And, in the event scene, we
You
need these services.
need,
So it was
yeah,
mutually beneficial. So it was easy to
to
use,
spread
like
your
just,
wings away.
yeah. But, then I went into Forex, and there was no mutually beneficial relationship with those businesses and Forex trading. Yeah, so something had to suffer at some point. So these are two different scenarios where in a scenario you're managing a certain category of businesses that fall within this, like they can be
And it
mutually
works.
beneficial. You can actually lift them
One with the
together,
other, yeah.
right, simultaneously. But sometimes it may not work if this is a different ballgame entirely from the
Yeah, they're
other
just
one.
world
They're
apart
just worlds apart. One will suffer because one would need more attention than the
than
other.
the other.
And if they are all at the same startup level, one is already out at some point. One will go out, like it will not be intentional, but it will just phase out,
Yeah,
and the focus will be on
on the
one
other.
particular
And you
one.
most likely
So
just focus on probably the one you like the most or the one that is bringing much more
the one
income.
that's bringing more money, of
Most
course.
likely.
The one that's bringing more
No,
money
but
is
you
the
know,
one you most
you know,
likely
you know,
focus
sometimes
on.
when you start up something, it's more about the potential, right? That you're looking at. You're not looking at it now. You're looking at, oh, in 6 months from now or in a year from now, I can see where this business would be at. So even when you have something, you're just focusing more on that. Like, this one, I know when you take off, you're taking off big.
Yeah.
But this other one, you're bringing money now, but there's no really big picture for it in your mind. So yeah, I think that I agree with you.
Yes. So you have to look at the dynamics of the businesses you are trying to build, the
Yeah.
level they are at. If they're businesses of maybe separate industries or they're not tied in any way, I would recommend that you build one to a level where it can fly
Yeah.
before you go and pick something else that is entirely different from that one. So yeah, that would be my response to that.
All right. Thank you. You have something to say. It looks like
Um, okay, so for me, I would say this. When you're starting out, you need specific knowledge first, right? How well do you know what you're already doing? And before even picking that specific knowledge, there's something called the founder or the entrepreneur product market fit, right? So which first means it starts with you, right? What do you naturally have what do you have passion for, you're good at, as you said,
Yeah.
right? And then that becomes like, okay, the product. And then there's the market fit, right? Can that product give you money
Yeah.
or not, basically. So you have to just sort of look at that, and then if you figure out that product can give you money, yeah, you look at specificity, right? Basically, right, you get specific knowledge and you build specific knowledge over time before you move on to the next thing. When you build specific knowledge, you can have an Indian who you train, or have a manager, or you employ one or two persons who can
We can
continue
now
in
continue
that
from
thing
yeah.
before moving. The Igbos got this right with the Igbo apprenticeship system, right? They set up something, spare parts, or be it like trading or whatever, right? And then they get somebody who they train, who then trains the next other persons, and then they are able to diversify. You get, and when you do it that way, right, you then go from specific knowledge to domain knowledge, just like you said, where you have a bunch of vertical things, right? And looking back for myself, I first started with an e-commerce platform called Yandi Nigeria, right? In it, we saw that there was more demand for digital services than e-commerce. And when we pivoted, I started as a digital marketer. We realized that people needed websites, so when people need websites, after getting them the website, you need to market that. So that became a service. Then there was graphics, there was animation because of you needed a cheaper way to shoot, to make advert content. Those were all like verticals that could just add up. But we built up different specific knowledge, and then next thing you know, I'm setting up a digital agency where we have domain knowledge over distance. You get, and that has worked very fine, and the agency has remained profitable till date. So that's looking at that trajectory. I think that those are principles that work, right? First, look for your founder or entrepreneur product market fit, then get specific knowledge, then get domain knowledge. After that, if at all you want to move to any other venture that is different from yours, look for a mentor or partner with someone who has built a lot of specific knowledge in that,
And bring them
and then
in.
bring the person.
Knowledge. Oh, this knowledge won't choke the both of you. This is a lot. This is a lot. This has been really, really educative, right? Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge with us. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast to talk about this. I have learned so much. Personally, I have learned so much, right? I mean, I'm not bad with money, you. But there's always something to learn, right? You're never perfect when it comes to your finances most times. So yeah, this has been really insightful. I feel like I don't want this to end, but my crew, they're on my neck. So yeah, so we have come to the end of this. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. You guys look amazing, and you've shared so many amazing tips, so many amazing knowledge. And yes, my people, you've been listening since, but you've not picked one or two things. I don't understand how. So yeah, what you're going to do for me now is go into the comment section and share two things that you've learned from this episode. I'm sure you've learned a lot of things. They've both spoken on different things. Even me, I don't really know much on money. So I've added one or two. So go into the comment section and share that with us. And if you're not clicked on the subscribe button yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. So yes, make sure that you stay tuned to this channel. We're going to be sharing so much that you need to know as an entrepreneur. And yes, don't forget the name of this podcast. It is the Entrepreneur's Guide to Retirement, where we're talking everything savings, retirement, planning, budgeting. And I am going to be ending this podcast on the note that as you dey make money, make you sabi how you go dey spend. Do you get that? All right, guys, this is the end of this episode. I am still your host, Alima, and I'm going to see you guys in my next episode. Ciao. Say ciao, guys. And tell them to subscribe. You get it. You get it. Bye, guys.